twimukiye ku rwibutso rwa Kigali ruherereye ku Gisozi, aho harimo kugenda hagera abashyitsi batandukanye baje kwifatanya n'u Rwanda kwibuka ku nshuro ya 30 Genocide yakorewe abatutsi. Niba mugenzi wacu Divin wayo uhari adukurikiye, ngeri ngo yaduha ishusho y'uko bimeze, dukomeza tureba n'ayo mashusho televiziyo zacu zirimo kutwereka.
Ku mashusho biragaragara ko abashyitsi bakuru batangiye kugera hano ku rwibutso rwa Kigali. Kanya gatubonye wigeze kuyobora Ubufaransa, Nicolas Sarkozy.
Yego, nguwo Nicolas Sarkozy.
Kandi mu kanya gashize nabonaga hari n'amakuru avuga ko perezida wa Israel Isaac Herzog ageze i Kigali mu gitondo cyo kuri iki cyumweru, nawe akabaje kwifatanya n'u Rwanda kwibuka ku nshuro ya 30 Genocide yakorewe abatutsi. Nukuvuga nawe mu minota mike ashobora kuba ageze hano ku rwibutso rwa Kigali ku Gisozi, cyangwa se yanahageze.
Aba rero n'abashyitsi batandukanye barimo kugenda bagera hariya ku rwibutso rwa Kigali ruherereye ku Gisozi, bahagera kugira ngo nabo bifatanye n'isi n'u Rwanda mu kwibuka ku nshuro ya 30 Genocide yakorewe abatutsi.
Ibeshya ndabona na Thabo Mbeki.
Yego, ni Thabo Mbeki
wigeze kuyobora Afurika y'Epfo.
Yego,
na Minisitiri w'Ububanyi n'Amahanga Biruta.
mu kanya twa turimo kubona Nicolas Sarkozy wahoze ayobora igihugu cy'Ubufaransa, kandi nanone yari ari kumwe n'uwahoze ari minisitiri w'intebe wa Ethiopia, nabo bari mu bamaze kugera hariya ku Gisozi. Buri munyacyubahiro arimo aragenda ahagera yegera bagenzi be kugira ngo nyine begere aho bari buze gushyiraho indabo, baha icyubahiro abashyinguwe hariya bazize Jenoside yakorewe abatutsi ku rwibutso baruhukiye ku rwibutso rwa Kigali ruherereye ku Gisozi. Ni gahunda zose muri rusange televiziyo Rwanda ndetse na radiyo Rwanda, ndetse umuntu yavuga ngo no ku ikoranabuhanga arabiye hose irahakubereye kugira ngo uyu muhango uze kuwukurikirana imbona nkubone. Gusa ariko nanone twinibutsa yuko uyu muhango uza no gukorerwa no ku midugudu hirya no hino.
Today we gather here at the Kigali Genocide Memorial to honor the victims of the genocide against the Tutsi. On this day, 30 years ago, over 1 million innocent lives were brutally taken in 100 days, with 250,000 souls finding their final resting place here at the memorial. You're joining millions of other Rwandans who are laying wreaths in countless memorials and graves throughout the country and abroad in remembrance of the lives we've lost. Excellences, aujourd'hui, vous rejoignez des millions d'autres Rwandais à travers le pays et au-delà pour honorer la mémoire de plus d'1 million de victimes du génocide contre les Tutsis, dont 250 000 ont trouvé leur dernière demeure ici, dans ce lieu dédié à leur mémoire. Excellencies, in a moment, you will lay down your wreaths to honor the victims of the genocide against the Tutsi. I would like to request the military band to guide us in this important moment. Excellencies, we invite you to take a step forward towards the wreath and pay your respect to the victims of the genocide against the Tutsi. Please take a moment of reflection as the military band plays the reverie. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for honoring the innocent lives lost. We now proceed to the next part of the program. Protocol will guide us. Thank you.
Nitwa Mukandori Venansi. Ubwo iwacu nyine kavukira akaba ari Rutonde. Nako nashatse ne Munyaga. Genocide rero yabaye mbyaye umwana wanjye wa Bucura. Yapfuye muri Genocide afite ari mu mwaka wa 2. Afite imyaka 10. Ubwo rero Genocide nyine ubwo nari mbaho nabi, yewe ndokora n'umwana w'umuhungu, ndokora umwana w'umuhungu n'umukobwa, abo bararokoka abandi barabica. Noneho rero bamaze gupfa abo barasigara. Noneho tuvuye mu nkambi tugeze mu rugo, barongera noneho abo twasize nyuma badusigarira inyuma nabo barabica, barabaroga barabica. Ubwo mbaho jyenyine, nsigaraho jyenyine, nsigara nigunze ntazi ukuntu meze, mbega muri jye ntabwo nzi ukuntu nari meze. Rero umugabo yari yarapfuye, yapfuye muri 90 nibwo yapfuye. Noneho rero abana bapfuye nyuma, ejo bundi aha muri Genocide hanyuma nibwo bapfuye, nibwo babishe. Mfite abana 6. Urumva? Nabyaye abana 6. Nta yavuyemo, nta ruhinja rwapfuye, bose bari abasore, bose bari inkumi. Urumva? Bari munini cyane. Rutonde nari mfite abantu b'abavandimwe benshi bagera ku basore, inkumi, abagore bagera nko ku 10, ariko bose barapfa barashira. Barapfa barashira. Ubwo nsigaraho bya mbere nta nubwo nanabyubakaho byanambabaza. Kuko abana bari banshizeho n'imiryango nashatse nayo ishize yarapfuye, imaze gupfa abaramukazi banjye barapfa. Ubwo rero numvaga ntaho mpagaze nyine, numvaga ndi mu kirere nk'inyoni. Ahantu twahungiye Rwamagana, twavuye mu Nyaga duhungiye Rwamagana, ko twaragiye turara mu bihuru, twavuye mu Nyaga, mbega twavuyeyo nka saa 9 z'umugoroba. Tugiye ngo ndahungira ahantu, ubwo nahungiye ahantu hari akana nareraga ka musaza wanjye. Ubwo niko ngo kanari nishimbushije ngo kajye kandaza k'agakobwa. ubwo akana kaje ubwo ndagakuruye ubwo ndagafashe gatya nkakurura kari gatoya ajyana ku muturage twari duturanye niho twumva hepfo ahantu
kubikurikira aha ni ku Gisozi ku rwibutso rwa Gisozi aho rero n'ubundi nyakubahwa perezida wa repubulika Paul Kagame ari kumwe na madamu ndetse n'abandi bayobozi mu nzego zitandukanye cyane nanone abayobozi b'ibihugu bitandukanye baje kwifatanya n'u Rwanda mu kwibuka jenoside ku nshuro ya 30 jenoside yakorewe abatutsi baje rero kwifatanya n'u Rwanda aha rero bakaba bari ku Gisozi aho bakomeje
Excellencies, today we gather here at the Kigali Genocide Memorial to honor the memory of the victims of the genocide against the Tutsi. On this day, 30 years ago, over 1 million innocent lives were brutally taken in 100 days, with 250,000 souls finding their final resting place here at this memorial. You're joining millions of other Rwandans who are laying wreaths in countless memorials and graves throughout the country and abroad in remembrance of the lives that we've lost. Excellences, aujourd'hui vous rejoignez des millions d'autres Rwandais à travers le pays et au-delà pour honorer la mémoire de plus d'1 million de victimes du génocide contre les Tutsis, dont 250 000 ont trouvé leur dernière demeure ici, dans ce lieu dédié à leur mémoire. Excellency, in a moment, you will lay down your wreath to honor the victims of the genocide against the Tutsi. I would like to request the military band to guide us in this important moment. Excellencies, we invite you all to take a step forward towards the wreath and pay respect to the victims of the genocide against the Tutsi. Please take a moment of reflection as the military band plays the Rivari.
tugeze 94 tuvuga imiyoborere. Ubwo rero icyo waganishagaho mu by'ukuri ni uko 94 rurangiza jenoside imaze kuba, ariko tugira n'amahirwe abanyarwanda b'umutima bayobowe na nyakubahwa perezida wa repubulika bahagarika jenoside, baramira abari bakiriho, igihugu, ubuyobozi kuva ku itariki 19 z'ukwezi kwa karindwi, igihugu cyongera kugira ubuyobozi, cyongera kugira guverinoma y'ubumwe bw'abanyarwanda. Guverinoma y'ubumwe bw'abanyarwanda rero yatangiranye n'ingorane nyinshi. Uratekereza nawe igihugu kimaze kwicwamo abantu barenga miliyoni, hari imfubyi, hari abapfakazi.
Reka twerekeze, murakoze cyane, reka twerekeze kuri Beka Arena ahagiye rero gukomereza igikorwa cyo kwibuka. Remain standing for the moment of silence. You may be seated.
Veuillez bien prendre place. Excellence, nous avons l'interprétation en direct pour vous. Veuillez bien utiliser le canal 1 pour l'anglais, le canal 2 pour le français, le canal 3 pour l'arabe et le canal 4 pour le portugais.
Canal 2 pour le français, le canal 3 pour l'arabe et le canal 4 pour le portugais.
Nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika na Madamu, banyacyubahiro muterane hano, bashyitsi bahire, inshuti z'u Rwanda, banyarwanda, banyarwandakazi, mudukurikiye kuri radio, televiziyo no ku mbuga nkoranyambaga, mwaramutse. Nitwa Mukurarinda Alain Bernard, nkaba ndi umuvugizi wungirije wa guverinoma. Nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika, dutewe ishema no kwakira kandi duhaye ikaze abashyitsi baje batugana baturutse imihanda yose ngo twifatanye kwibuka kuri uyu munsi tariki ya 7 Mata umwaka wa 2024 twibuka ku nshuro ya 30 Genocide yakorewe abatutsi. Dufatanyije kandi n'isi yose turibuka ku nshuro ya 30 ko mu kwezi kwa Mata mu mwaka wa 1994 abasaga miliyoni mu gihe kitarenze iminsi 100 batikijwe bazira gusa uko bavutse.
Excellencies, honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. My name is Sandrine Umutoni. I am the Minister of State for Youth and Arts. We are honored to welcome you all Rwandans and friends of Rwanda present here at home, across our country and all over the world on this solemn day of our 30th commemoration, as we remember more than 1 million men, women.
Nous commémorons plus d'1 million de victimes du génocide de 1994. Je vous invite à présent à regarder cet arbre qui représente la lumière que les victimes du génocide ne trouvaient pas, mais que le pays a retrouvée. La lumière extérieure, la lumière intérieure. L'arbre illustre la mémoire du passé, la culture rwandaise que nous partageons tous et dans laquelle nous puisons notre inspiration et notre force pour construire un monde meilleur. Nous allons à présent entendre Monsieur le ministre Biruta, ministre des Affaires étrangères, qui sera suivi du ministre de Minogomwe, ministre de l'Unité nationale, après Monsieur le ministre Biruta.
Your Excellency Paul Kagame, President of the Republic.
Monsieur le Président Paul Kagame, Madame la Première Dame Jeannette Kagame, Excellence, chef d'État et de gouvernement, chef de délégation, chef d'organisation internationale, honorables délégués, Mesdames, Messieurs. Permettez-moi de vous souhaiter la bienvenue très chaleureusement à cette 30e commémoration du génocide contre les Tutsis. Nous vous sommes très reconnaissants de votre présence, de votre solidarité en ce moment de commémoration où nous honorons la mémoire de ce que nous avons perdu il y a 30 ans. Merci de vous associer à nous et à notre souhait de voir ces catastrophes se reproduire. Je remercie nos invités qui se sont joints à nous et je vais en donner le nom.
His Excellency, the President of the Republic of South Sudan and Chairperson of the East African Community. Son Excellence, le Président de la République centrafricaine. His Excellency, the President of the Republic of South Africa. His Excellency, the Prime Minister of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia and the First Lady. Son Excellence, le Président de la République de Madagascar et Madame la Première Dame. Son Excellence le Président de la République islamique de Mauritanie et Président en exercice de l'Union africaine. His Excellency the President of the Republic of Mauritius and the First Lady. Her Excellency the President of the United Republic of Tanzania. His Excellency the President of the State of Israel. His Excellency the President of the Czech Republic, the Right Honorable Prime Minister of the Kingdom of Lesotho, His Excellency the former President of the United States of America, Mr. Bill Clinton, Son Excellence Madame la Première Dame de la République de Guinée, Son Excellence Madame la Vice-Présidente de la République du Bénin, Her Excellency the Vice President of the Republic of Uganda, Her Excellency the Vice President of the Republic of Zambia, His Excellency the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency the Vice President of the Republic of the Gambia, Her Excellency the Speaker of the Assembly of the Republic of Mozambique, the Honorable Speaker of the House of Commons of Canada, Son Excellence Madame la Première Ministre, excusez-moi, de la République togolaise, Son Excellence Monsieur le Chef du gouvernement du Royaume du Maroc, Son Excellence Monsieur le Premier Ministre de la République gabonaise, His Excellency the former President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Dr. Olusegun Obasanjo, His Excellency the former President of the Republic of South Africa, Mr. Thabo Mbeki, His Excellency the former President of the Federal Republic of Germany, Dr. Horst Köhler, Son Excellence l'ancien Président de la République française, M. Nicolas Sarkozy, His Excellency the former Prime Minister of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, Mr. Haile Mariam Desalegn, Son Excellence Monsieur le Président du Conseil européen, Son Excellence Monsieur le Président de la Commission de l'Union africaine, the President of the African Development Bank, the Secretary General of the Commonwealth, Madame la Secrétaire Générale de la Francophonie, the Secretary General of the East African Community, the Director General of UNESCO. I would also like to recognize the countries that sent ministerial delegations as well as high-level representatives. Those are Algeria, Angola, Belgium, the Bahamas, Botswana, Canada, Chad, China, Comoros, Côte d'Ivoire, Denmark, Djibouti, Egypt, Equatorial Guinea, Eswatini, France, Guinea, India, the Republic of Korea, Mali, Malawi, the Netherlands, Qatar, Sao Tome and Principe, Serbia, Somalia, Sudan, Sweden, Turkey, the United Arab Emirates, and the United Kingdom. Thank you for standing with Rwanda today, for remembering with us, and for your continued support as we take this journey forward. Murakoze, je vous remercie. Thank you.
Nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika, ba nyakubahwa bakuru b'ibihugu na za guverinoma n'imiryango mpuzamahanga, banyacyubahiro mwese mwadutabaye, mbashimiye umwanya mu mpaye w'ikiganiro ngo mvuge mu ncamake iby'ingenzi byaranze Jenoside yakorewe abatutsi twibuka ku nshuro ya 30. Ndibanda ku ruhare mpuzamahanga rwatumye Jenoside ishoboka, na n'ubu hakaba hagikwiye impinduka mu ikumirwa rya Jenoside ku rwego mpuzamahanga. Ndagira ngo nkomereze mu rurimi rw'Igifaransa. Nous commémorons l'extermination de plus d'un million de Tutsis que les États auraient pu sauver. L'ONU a reconnu ce chiffre effroyable dans la résolution 2150 du 16 avril 2014, en notant 3 éléments ci-après. Il existe des preuves accablantes que des actes de génocide ont été commis à l'encontre du groupe Tutsi. Plus d'1 million de personnes ont été tuées dans ce génocide. Et prenant note, en s'en inquiétant de toutes formes de négation de ce génocide. Le 7 juillet 2000, une commission d'enquête de l'Union africaine dirigée par son Excellence Ketumire Masire, ancien président du Botswana, publiait son rapport intitulé « Un génocide qu'on aurait pu éviter ». that could have been
Le
prevented.
rapport a reconnu
This
la
report
responsabilité de l'Union africaine comme suit.
clarifies the African Union's
Le
responsibility.
génocide qui advint
It
au
says
Rwanda
this genocide
aurait
that
pu
happened in
être
Rwanda could have been
évité
prevented
par ceux de la
by
communauté
those from the
internationale
international community
qui étaient en
who
position
were in position
et avaient les
and who
moyens
had
de
the
le faire.
means to do so.
Mais à
However,
cela, la volonté
those
a fait défaut
did
et non
not
pas les
have the
moyens.
will
Fin de citation.
and did not have the means.
Le
End
15
of quote.
décembre 1999,
December
une
15,
commission de l'ONU
1999, a United Nations
dirigée par
Commission
M.
under
Ingvar
Mr. Ingvar Carlsson,
ancien
former
Premier
Prime
ministre
Minister
suédois,
of Sweden,
publiait un
published
rapport
a
similaire
similar report
en concluant ce qui suit.
concluding like this.
C'est sur le système des Nations Unies
It's,
tout entier
The United
que
Nations
retombe
as a system,
la responsabilité
they
de n'avoir
bear the
su
responsibility
ni
to
prévenir ni mettre fin
not have
au
known
génocide
to
au Rwanda.
prevent or to end the genocide in Rwanda.
En effet, Excellence,
Your Excellences,
avant le génocide
before
commis
the
contre les
genocide
Tutsis en
against Tutsis
1994,
in 1994,
l'ONU
the
et
United
ses États
Nations
membres
and its member states
avaient toutes les
had
informations
had
nécessaires
all
pour agir
necessary
à
information
temps.
to act on time.
Le 11 août
August 11,
1993,
1993,
la Commission des Nations Unies pour les droits de
the
l'homme
United Nations
publia
Human
une
Rights Commission
enquête
published
concluant, je cite,
a report that
la
concluded like
population
this.
Tutsi
The Tutsi
est la cible
population
de massacres
is
à grande
targeted
échelle
by large-scale
menés par les forces
massacres
armées
by
rwandaises,
the Rwandan armed forces,
les autorités
administrative
administratives
authorities,
et les milices.
and militia.
Les victimes Tutsi,
The Tutsi
dans
victims
l'écrasante majorité,
The majority of those
sont
targeted,
désignés comme
and they are
uniquement
targeted
à cause
just
de leur
because of
appartenance
their
ethnique.
ethnic group.
Ces théories posent
These
clairement
killings
la question du
Are
génocide.
clearly a
Nous étions
genocide.
8 mois avant
That was
le
8
génocide
months before the
commandé.
genocide.
Le 18 mai
On May
1994,
18th,
une
1994,
délégation du gouvernement
a
génocidaire
delegation
rwandais
of the genocidal
composée du
government
ministre des Affaires étrangères,
with the
Jérôme
Minister of
Chamumaka,
Foreign Affairs, Jerome
et du
Chamumaka,
leader
and
du parti
the
extrémiste
extremist party
Jean Bosco
CDR leader,
Barayagwiza,
Jean Bosco Barayagwiza,
siégea au Conseil de sécurité.
attended the Security
Il
Council
prit part
meeting.
au débat,
They participated in
falsifia les
debates, distorting
inversant
facts,
les responsabilités
and
en accusant
imputing
le Front patriotique
responsibilities to
rwandais
the
de
Rwandan
commettre
Patriotic
soi-disant
Front,
un génocide sur les Hutus.
accusing them of having committed a genocide
La
against
conséquence
Hutus.
sera que dans
The
la
consequence
résolution
was that in
918,
the 918
votée le même
resolution
jour,
voted on the same day,
l'emploi du terme
the
génocide
use of
fut
the
décliné.
term genocide was refused. One will have to wait until June 8, 1994 for the United Nations to use that word timidly, speaking of acts of genocide. And in the meantime, the Zaire, today's Democratic Republic of Congo, was allowing the genocidal government to buy weapons via different states and dealers. On June 22nd, 1994, the United Nations, under France's pressure, authorized the Turquoise operation, which helped genociders to move and settle in Zaire. In July 1994, the genocidaires were defeated by the Rwandan Patriotic Front. On October 30th, 1994, those genociders formed a government with the president and the prime minister who have committed the genocide, masterminded the genocide. There was General Bizimungu, who was chief of staff of the genocidal army in the same government. The Minister of Defense became Colonel Atanas Gasake, who headed, before the genocide and during the genocide, he headed what they call civil defense force that used to distribute weapons to militia. His deputy became Colonel Wagosora, who is the mastermind of the genocide. And on April 3rd, 1995, they created a political party that they called Rassemblement pour le Retour de la Démocratie, RDR, with an ethnicist and genocide-denying ideology. The genocidal administration reconstituted in Zaire, the FDLR who are active today in DRC were born from that system. But many international resolutions requiring the dismantling of that force and taking them to justice have been neglected. One example here. Resolution 2150 of the Security Council, voted on April 16, 2014, requires this of states. First, draw lessons of the genocide perpetrated in 1994 against Tutsis. And two, conduct an inquiry about the facts, arrest and extradite genocide fugitives who are on their territory, including FDLR leaders. And three, the Security Council condemns the denial of that genocide. On January 10, 2005, during its 23rd Summit of Heads of State held in Libreville, in Gabon, the African Union voted a resolution which is identical to that one about the FDLR. On May 14, 2008 and December 8, 2010, the European Union adopted similar resolutions, which today remain unapplied. They are not applied even today. Germany took an important act when they arrested and prosecuted and sentencing in 2015 two politicians of from the FDLR, including Nias Munyashaka and Straton Musoni. The latter was returned to Rwanda in 2022 at the end of after having served his sentence, and he lives peacefully in his native country. Murwanashyaka died in a German prison in 2019. Belgium sent to Rwanda in 2018 Major Bernard Ntuyahaga after the end of his 20-year sentence for genocide. He had been found guilty of murder, the murder of the 10 Belgian blue helmets, Belgian UN forces during the genocide. The states still hesitate to send genocide suspects, but they should learn from those examples. Having said that, how will Rwandans understand the fact that Colonel Alois Simba's body, who was found guilty of genocide by the ICTR and sentenced to 25 years, was transferred secretly to the United States in July 30th, 2023. How will understand that FDLR elements who assassinated 8 Western tourists in Rwindi National Park in Uganda on March 1st, 1999, were arrested later on by Rwandan judicial system and extradited to the United States, but they were later on sent to live freely in Australia without any trial. In November 1994, during debates at the UN about the creation of the ICTR, Ambassador Karol Kovander, representing the Czech Republic at the Security Council, had underlined the urgent priority to send a force at that time to neutralize genociders and to return them to Rwanda. He was not heard. 30 years later, the FDLR crimes are still going on today. Today, we see similar international indifference similar to that prevailed in Rwanda between 1990 and 1994. Are we looking for another million of dead people to act? This would be a shame that this commemoration should help and is calling to stop. I thank you, Your Excellencies.
Monsieur le ministre, merci pour ces quelques mots qui relatent les étapes de notre histoire. And now, Excellencies, distinguished guests,
Excellence,
we will hear the first of 3 musical interludes of songs originally created for past commemoration ceremonies. Today, those will be performed by a new generation of artists as a symbol of intergenerational transmission for the preservation of memory. I would now like to invite Kenny Mirasano and Christian Bukuru to perform a medley of the songs Kwibuka, originally sung by Suzanne Nyiranyamibwa and Never Again, sung by Masamba Inori.
Mesdames, Messieurs, nous allons à présent entendre une survivante de l'ouest du Rwanda. Elle arrive.
Murakoze. Nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika, nitwa Marie Louise.
Mr. President, my name is Louise Ainhamie from the Western Province in Ngororero District, Anyange village. At that time it was the prefecture of Kibuye, the commune of Kivumu, before the system was changed. I'm married and a mother of 5. Mr. President, let me announce here that what is going to be said, what I'm going to say,
ariko mfite byinshi nabonye, hari n'ibyo nagiye nsobanukirwa uko nagendaga nkura. Umuryango w'abana 7, abakobwa 3 n'abahungu 4, dufite ababyeyi bombi, tubayeho ubuzima busanzwe bw'abandi banyarwanda. Cyakora twari dufite umwihariko, twari dusangiye n'abandi banyarwanda bitwaga abatutsi, bwo kubaho mu buzima budafite umutekano wuzuye. Mama wanjye yavukaga muri komine Kibirira, aho mu kwezi kwa 10 hagati y'itariki 11 na 15 1990 muri komine Kibirira hishwe abatutsi barenga 350. Ubwo ni muri muryango wa mama wanjye wose washize. Ntangira kubona ko tubayeho ubuzima tudafitiye uburenganzira. Ni kenshi cyane nabonaga mu rugo ijoro amafirimba avuga, induru zikavuga, nkabona ababyeyi baratubyukije bakajya kuducumbikishiriza mu baturanyi cyangwa se ku kiliziya cyangwa mu babikira. Ibyo nabibonaga kenshi. Ikindi nuko mu mashuri kwigagamo, jewe ishuri nigagamo twara abatutsi 2, gukorerwaho umwitozo wo kuduhagurutsa bavuga ngo abahutu bahaguruke n'abatutsi bahaguruke. Ikintu cyanteraga igikomere gikomeye ko nabonaga iwacu mu rugo twifashije mu buryo natekereza ko ari twe dukwiye kuba turi abantu bameze gutyo. Nagira ntekereza ko bibaye ari ibigurwa bagombye kuba barabiguze kugira ngo natwe twebone mu muryango. Nabonaga abandi benshi babarizwamo kandi bikadutera ipfunwe mu bandi. Mu 1994 kwezi kwa 4 ku itariki 7 twari iwacu mu rugo mu muryango. Habyarimana yapfuye, ndabimenya nkuko nabandi bose babimenye. Cyakoze njyewe sinamenye ingaruka bidufiteho ku myaka yanjye, numvaga ari bisanzwe. Ariko mbona abandi barijimye, mbona ntabwo babayeho, harimo ikintu kidasanzwe. Mu rugo iwacu mu bana 7 twari duhari turi 5 ku itariki 8. Mama na papa wacu, mama wacu we yari yagiye Gitarama kure mu isengeneza aho wari urwaye. Genocide itangira atari mu rugo, byaje kumuviramo amahirwe yo kurokoka arokokeye i Kabgayi. Musaza wanjye mukuru w'imfura yamenye ibirimo bitegurwa, agenda n'amaguru yihuta Gitarama n'amaguru mu ijoro agerayo. Nawe byamufashije kuzarokokerayo. Nari mfite mukuru wanjye wundi mukuru, ntabwo yabaga mu rugo, yari yaragiye kwiha Imana aba ahantu bita mu Karangi. Uwo munsi wacu mu rugo ku itariki 8 mu ijoro ryo ku itariki 7/8 twari dufite umuryango, twari duturanye wabaga hitwaga Ibweramana. Iryo joro baraye bawishe, wari umuryango mugari cyane. Hanyuma nkangutse mbona iwacu hateraniye abantu benshi, ndikanga, barambwira bati kwanda ku bana bapfuye. Mu gitondo papa byuka abwira mukuru wanjye ati jyana murumuna wawe na musaza wawe mutoya mujye ku kiliziya, natwe nimugoroba turaza kubasangayo. Ubwo yari kiliziya ya Nyange, paruwasi ya Nyange, naho bari barimo kutwohereza. Njyewe nahise ndababwira ngo mwanyemereye njyewe nkajya kwa marene wanjye. Nari mfite umubyeyi wabatisemo, nari maze iminsi mikeya mbatijwe numvaga ari ahantu mparaye ntabwo ari uko nari nzi ko naharokokera. Hanyuma ndababwira ntimwaritse akaba ariho nigira, kuko n'ubundi ku kiliziya atari amakiriro yari amabura kindi kujyayo. Barambwira bati se n'ubundi ntabwo tuzi aho umuntu azakirira, nibakureke wigendere. Navuye mu rugo nzamukana na mukuru wanjye na musaza wanjye mutoya, abandi basaza banjye bakuru babiri bari mu rugo bari bagiye kwahura amatungo. Hanyuma tugeze ahantu twagombaga gutandukanira bagakomeza bajya ku kiliziya, nanjye ngakomereza aho yitwaga Ingobagoba, aho nari ngiye kwihisha. Mukuru wanjye arandeba arambwira ati ngaho genda, Imana nikugirira neza tugashobora kurokoka tuzongera tubonane. Ariko ntabwo byashobotse, mukuru wanjye ntabwo nongeye kumubona ukundi. Nakomereje ku kiliziya na musaza wanjye mutoya, njyewe nkomereza mu muryango nari ngiyemo. Mbere yuko nkomeza ubuzima nabayemo aho nari ngiye, kamvuge gatoya urugendo rw'abarigiye ku kiliziya, nubwo ntarindi ariko aho narindi makuru nayanamenyaga, ndetse na nyuma dukomeza gukurikirana kugira ngo turebe ko hari umuntu yaba yararokoye, nubwo bitadukundiraga kenshi twumvaga amakuru mabi y'urupfu bapfuye. Nashoboye kumenya ko bageze ku kiliziya nimugoroba ku munsi ukurikiye. Mukuru wanjye bari bashonje, ajyana agasaza kanjye gatoya bajya mu babikira. Twari tuziranye kuko umuryango wabo niwo mukuru wanjye yaragiye kwihama Imana, bagenda nk'abagiye gusaba ibyo kurya. Hanyuma mukuru wanjye arya urwara, agasaza kanjye ngo katamukurikira bavayo. Agasaza kanjye kaje kurokoka, ayo ni amakuru yo yambwiye nyine uko byagenze kugira ngo asigare ku babikira. Mukuru wanjye yasubiye ku kiliziya, ubwo yari arimo na papa wanjye na basaza banjye babiri. Papa yagerageje kubashyira mu miryango ngo babahishe, ariko ntibyakunda, bahita babazana ku kiliziya nabo, aho umugambi wo kubicira wari uteganyirijwe. Hanyuma babaye mu kiliziya bagerageza kwirwanaho uko bashoye, ntibyakunda kubera ko ku itariki 16 z'ukwezi kwa 4 nibwo Padiri Seromba wari uyoboye kiliziya ya Nyange yatanze uburenganzira bwo gusenya kiliziya yose kugira ngo bizere neza ko abatutsi bose bari bahungiyemo barangiye kwicwa. Kiliziya barayihiritse, ubuzima bw'abacu bose burangirira aho ngaho. Ubwo ninjye wari ukomeje kubaho ko nabitekerezaga. Nari naragiye mu muryango kwa Marene, yari umugabo n'umugore. Umugore wahigwaga, umugabo adahigwa. Umugabo yari umwarimu, umugore ari umugerefiye w'urukiko, bari abantu bakomeye. Hanyuma akaba umusozi utari uri hafi y'iwacu, hamwe hari muri Ngobagoba, ahandi iwacu ari Murambi. Njyewe ntari umwana muto ku myaka 11, ntabwo abantu benshi baho bari banzi, ariko kubera ko urwo rugo rwari rurimo uwo mubyeyi, hahoraga ibitero buri munsi. Bazaga kuhatera bakadusohora twese tugahagarara hanze. Ariko ngera muri urwo rugo, umugabo nyir'urugo yarambwiye, arabirebye barabibona ko mpahungiye. Arambwira ati nihagira umuntu kubaza uwo uri we, ujye uvuga ko uri umwana wa, yambwiye izina rya mukuru we wabaga i Kigali, atujye umubabwira ko waje mu kiruhuko hano muri vacances. Hanyuma ndabifata, icyakora ntawe bimbajije. Baradusohoraga tugahagarara hanze ku mugaragaro, nkabona ibitero byinshi, bafite amacumu n'imihoro, intwaro zose bakoreshaga. Umutima ukansimbuka, bakaduhagarika hanze twese, ariko nareba amasura nkabona ntawe nzi. Bakinjira mu rugo, bagasahura ibintu byose bakabimena, bashakamo uwo mudamu bakamubura. barangiza bagasohoka bakagenda. Urwo rugo ni urugo mfataho nk'intangarugero, bagerageje guhisha umubyeyi wabo mu buryo bwose bushoboka. Iyo bamenyaga ko ibitero biri buze, bararaga ijoro ryose bamugenza bakamubitsa ahantu, hanyuma bwacya byagenda bakongera bakamugarura. Yaba ari mu rugo bakirirwa mu rugo aho ngaho, bose abasore n'inkumi bagumagaho mu rugo, nta kindi cyabaga muri urwo rugo. Ubwo buzima twabubayemo. Hanyuma igihe kimwe barambwira bati ejo hazaza ibitero by'iwanyu, by'umugabo bitandungutse n'abayoboraga ibitero by'iwacu. Baravuga bati nawe uyu munsi barakubona. Bampa umwana twari mu kigero kimwe, ambyutsa nijoro nka 10:00, bamubwira ahantu anjyana. Twagenze urugendo nk'urw'amasaha 2 n'amaguru. Hanyuma tugeze mu nzira, batangiye gucya, duhura n'uwo mubyeyi nari ngiyeho, dusanga umubyeyi yikoreye amaboko ati abana banjye nanjye bamaze kubica, ntaho mbajyana. Turakata dusubira inyuma, turongera dukora urugendo rusubira mu rugo. Nageze mu rugo mbisikana n'ibitero bivuye gusaka mu rugo bisohoka, nanjye nigerera mu yandi marembo. Ibyo bitero by'uwo munsi mbikira gutyo. Ubwo buzima tububamo tubumaramo amezi agera kuri 2, kwa 4 kwa 5. Mu kwezi kwa 6 ntekereza ko aribwo twatangiye kumva bavuga ngo abantu bahunze inkotanyi, bati mugomba guhunga. Twatenze kuva mu rugo kuko umubyeyi twari tukiri kumwe yarakiriho. Twibaza aho tuzanyura, ariko kugumamo nabyo biba ikibazo kuko interahamwe zasubiraga inyuma zigenda zijya mu ngo zica abantu. Ndetse n'amagambo atangiye gukwira bati uyu muryango twarababwiye gukorana n'inkotanyi, umurambo w'umugore twarawubuze, banze no guhunga bakorana n'inkotanyi. Hanyuma nyir'urugo aratubwira ati mugende, baduha ibintu dushobora kwitwaza. Njyewe bampa ikirago gishobora kuntwikira imbere n'inyuma, hanyuma dukomeza urugendo rwo guhunga nk'abandi. Ariko ababyeyi b'urwo rugo ntabwo baje, umugabo n'umugore baje ku munsi ukurikiyeho. Bageze ahantu bita ku Rufungo, bahasanga bariyeri, umugabo n'umugore barabica. Aho twari tugeze Rubengera, njyewe nari naramenyereye nyine ko nabaye imfubyi ari njyewe uhari. Ba bana twari kumwe nabo, ubuzima bwabo nabo bawe bw'ubupfubyi. Hanyuma aho twari turi Rubengera baratubwira bati umukobwa mukuru wari usigaye muri urwo rugo, ubwo ni wari usigaye nyine ayoboye abasigaye. Duhura n'umubikira bita mama Yohani, arambona aravuga ati uyu mwana ati hari musaza we ukiriho. Umukobwa baravugana, aramubwira ati ese kureba n'ubundi natwe tutamerewe neza, uyu nawe baza kumunyicana, wamfashije nawe ukamujyana aho umusaza wari. Umubikira aramfata anjyana ahantu hari imodoka y'abazungu b'Abafaransa. Nsanga hari abandi bantu badupakira mu iyo modoka, badutwikira nk'abatwikira imitwaro. Imodoka iragenda, tugenda tutazi aho tuva n'aho tujya. Nza kwisanga tugeze ahantu hari ikigo cy'amashuri abanza bitaga ku Rwimpiri. Aho hari icyo bita zone turquoise. Mpageze badushyiramo, nsanga barimo barandika abantu. Mu by'ukuri nagendaga ntazi aho ngiye, abantu twari kumwe sinarinzi niba ari abatutsi cyangwa ari abahutu. Umuryango nari ndi kumwe nari maze kuwusiga. Umubikira wambwiye ngo ngende, nawe ntiyaje, na musaza wanjye akiriye sinashoboye kumubona. Noneho mbona mbayeho mu isi ntazi, ntigira hirya nicara ahantu ku ibuye, ntangira kurira. Umubyeyi umwanyura aho arambaza ati ese kuri kurira? Ndamubwira nti ese ubu ndabaheye? Arambwira ati hangana, aho abandi bari bube nawe niho uri bube. Hanyuma nza kubona ko ubuzima ari aho bukomereje, nza no kugira umugisha wo kumenya ko abantu ntiwamenya icyakubwiraga ibintu. Nza kumenya ko abantu turi kumwe aho ngaho n'abari abandi batutsi bakeya bashoboye kuzana nanjye bari guhunga bahungishirijwe aho ngaho. Twari ahantu hari impunzi nyinshi hakurya no hakuno, ariko iryo shuri dusa n'abarimo turi abatutsi, ku buryo twari dufite imbibi tutabasha kurenga, uharenze interahamwe zitazimwica. Aho hantu twabahaye ubuzima bugeze mu byumweru 2, hanyuma numva bari kumva amaradiyo, bagize ibyishimo byinshi, bati inkotanyi zifashe igihugu, bati turatashye. Bavuze ngo turatashye, umutima numva urongera urandiye, ntangira kwibaza aho ngewe ntashye. Mu by'ukuri numvaga ari njye uri ku isi njyenyine mu bantu iwacu. Hanyuma buracya batwuriza imodoka, baratubwira bati mugende. Twurira imodoka z'abafaransa turagenda, cyakoze none ntabwo twagiye badutwikiriye, twarabonaga hanze tuhareba. Hanyuma tugera ahantu badukuramo, baratubwira ngo dukomeze imbere. Tuvamo dukomeza imbere, twigiye imbere, tubona imodoka ya gisirikare, imodoka y'abasirikare b'inkotanyi, twinjiramo, inkotanyi ziratujyana. Icyo gihe igikorwa cyahabereye ntabwo nashoboye gusobanukirwa icyo ari cyo, cyakoze naje kumenya nyuma y'uko hari habayeho ubwumvikane hagati y'inkotanyi n'abafaransa kugira ngo bashobore kurekura impunzi z'abatutsi bari bafite. Kuba Perezida wa Repubulika, mwarakoze kudukurikirana no kudushakisha aho twari turi hose. Inkotanyi zatugejeje i Nyabisindu, Gitarama, dusa n'abatangiye ubuzima, aho mpamenyera amakuru y'uko mama wanjye yarokotse, nza no kumubona, munezero numva uragarutse. Dutangira ubuzima bwo kwiyubaka. Musaza wanjye muto yaje kurokoka, umusaza wanjye mukuru yagiye mu gisirikare, nza kumubona nyuma. Dutangira ubuzima bwo kwiyubaka mu bikomere byinshi by'ubupfubyi n'ubupfakazi. Hanyuma ariko ubuzima buremera, leta y'ubumwe bw'abanyarwanda iduha ibyangombwa nkenerwa kugira ngo ubuzima bukomeze. Tugisubira mu mashuri turiga, turarangiza. Mfite amashuri kugera ku cyiciro cya 3 cya kaminuza, icyo nize niyishyurira, numva ubuzima bwaragarutse. Nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika, imyaka 30 irashize muhagaritse Genocide. Kuri twebwe imyaka 30 irashize, twongeye kubona ubuzima. Uyu munsi wa none umwana wanjye mukuru afite imyaka 11. Ni imyaka ingana nk'iyo nari mfite mu gihe cya Genocide. Ahubwo kubera kuvukira kuri leta zitandukanye, uyu mwana wanjye ni muzima, ni umunyarwanda muzima, niko ajya atahavuga ngo ndi umunyarwanda muzima ukunda igihugu n'abagituye. Yubatse neza, afite ubuzima bwiza butandukanye n'ubwo nabayemo. Turabashimira umurongo mwiza mwaduhaye wo kubaho nk'abanyarwanda, kandi uyu mwanya nsoza ubuhamya bwanjye ndabizeza ko twebwe nk'abanyarwanda, by'umwihariko abarokotse Genocide, turimo turubaka igihugu, dufite imbaraga nyinshi, umwete mwinshi wo kurinda ibyagezweho, kandi tuzabigeraho. Murakoze, dukomeze kwibuka twiyubaka.
Louise Komera, turiho. Thank you for your grace, your strength, and resilience. Excellencies, honorable guests, nous allons à présent assister à une représentation artistique intitulée The Gift of Time, qui reprend en 3 temps l'histoire de notre pays.
Merci pour votre témoignage, Monsieur le Président. Nous vous remercions une fois de plus d'avoir arrêté le génocide.
Sous la direction de Monsieur Wesley Rouzi,
Thank you very much.
collaboration de Dida Nibagwire, Hervé Twahirwa, Samuel Kamanzi, Cédric Mizero et Sissi Ouera, nous allons assister à un morceau qui raconte la période sombre qui a mené au génocide perpétré contre les Tutsis, la reconstruction sociale et humaine qui s'est ensuivie, et enfin notre vision d'un futur plus serein où les générations à venir pourront s'accomplir sans entrave.
Nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika, tugiye gukurikirana igihangano cya Ruzibiza Wesley. afatanyije n'urubyiruko baratwereka mu bice bitatu ibyaranze amateka ya Jenoside. Imvugo zihembera inzangano zikanatesha abantu ubumuntu zatugejeje mu bihe by'amage n'icuraburindi rya Jenoside. Ariko nyuma yo kubabarirana no kwiyunga, ejo heza hazaza h'u Rwanda harizewe, kuko icyo abana barwo bashyize imbere ari ukurubanamo nta wishisha undi.
Twaje hano twese, twaje twisize icyezamutima, uhora wererwa na gihanga. Babyeyi batubyaye, babujije kuturera no kutubona ubudukuze. Namwe bavandimwe bacu, barimo ibisekeramwanzi, byasekeraga imihoro. Nimuseke mugororoke, mwakira amaturo y'amashami yanyu yashibutse. Nimwakira amatungo atungiwe i Rwanda. Nimwakira imbuto zisakambye mu Rwanda. Mudutsindire abanzi nk'uko twanabatsinze. Impundu duteye ntizibateshe ijabiro ryanyu. Museke mugororoke.
Iminsi ijana yari hafi kuzura, ijuru ryataga amarira, ubutaka butakamba ububabare. 100 days of pain and sorrow, 100 jours de pleurs et de noirceur. Nuko twiga kongera guhaguruka.
Humeka, ruhuka, haguruka, ema, komera.
Gahoro gahoro tugerageza gutera imbere no gufatanya n'abandi, kongera kubaka no kurinda icyahuzaga imbaga rusange. ntituzatatira igihango dufitanye kivi cyanyu tuzacyuza.
We remember. We remember. We remember. Nous nous souvenons. Nous nous souvenons. Nous nous souvenons. Kwibuka. Kwibuka. Kwibuka.
Abahanzi barakoze. Nous allons à présent écouter les messages de solidarité de nos distingués invités. Excellence, Monsieur Moussa Faki Mahamat, président de la Commission de l'Union africaine, nous vous invitons à prononcer votre allocution de circonstance.
Excellence Paul Kagame, président de la République du Rwanda. Excellences, Mesdames et Messieurs les chefs d'État, de gouvernement et de délégation. Excellences, Mesdames les Premières Dames, Excellences, Messieurs les chefs des organisations internationales et régionales, distingués invités, chers frères et sœurs rwandais, Mesdames, Messieurs. C'est toujours un moment de rendez-vous fort, avec mille et une immenses émotions, de profonds questionnements et des sentiments admiratifs des capacités de relèvement chaque fois que nous foulons le sol de ces pays sortis vers le haut de ces cendres. Le génocide contre les Tutsis, dont nous méditons la 30e commémoration aujourd'hui, est pour moi tout cela à la fois. Il y a 30 ans, l'horreur s'abattait sur le Rwanda. Des forces meurtrières, nourries par des funestes idéologies ethnicistes, répandaient un discours de haine, un discours manipulateur, un discours avilissant au sein de la population de ce beau pays, connu pour la douceur de son climat et la verdure de ses collines. Comme résultat, dans l'intervalle de 3 mois, plus d'1 million de Tutsis avaient été décimés dans d'abominables conditions de souffrance et d'inhumanité. 3 décennies après le déclenchement de cette horreur indescriptible, nous sommes toujours interloqués, douloureusement questionnés sur l'absurdité, la déraison, la folie, le dépassement éhonté des limites de notre humanité. Comment? Pourquoi? Pour quelle fin? Quel mobile? Quelle soif étanche-t-on par l'extermination des autres, de tous les autres? Que pourrons-nous dire ou faire aujourd'hui? D'abord, d'accomplir un devoir de remembrance. Il faut en effet se souvenir pour ne pas oublier. Il faut se souvenir ensuite pour comprendre la profondeur des blessures infligées. Il faut se souvenir enfin pour mesurer la bestialité qui somnole en l'homme et trouve paradoxalement un exutoire dans une totale destruction de la dignité humaine. dans les crimes intrafamiliaux et autres commis au grand jour, parfois en plein site religieux, lesquels, dans un tragique retournement inattendu de rôle, s'étaient rendus complices d'une malfaisance inadmissible et généralisée. Il faut se souvenir de surcroît, surtout pour apprécier, sur fond de fierté inaltérable, le chemin parcouru par le Rwanda depuis cette sombre époque. Comment, de ces grands malheurs qui semblaient avoir irréversiblement anéanti la nation rwandaise, s'est édifiée une nouvelle réalité nationale égalitaire, forte, structurée, en constant progrès dans son dessein d'unité et de prospérité collective. Visitons en un mot le chemin. Il est balisé en premier lieu par une réconciliation des cœurs, des esprits, des consciences. Cette refonte des âmes s'est élaborée à travers une combinaison réussie des ressources de la justice et des sources de la sagesse africaine, éclairée par une volonté politique trempée dans l'acier et marquée par une obstination à atteindre le but poursuivi. Le processus de relèvement rwandais s'est projeté à corps perdu dans le futur. Excellences, Mesdames et Messieurs, Monsieur le Président Paul Kagame, dans un environnement africain et international profondément conflictuel, se nourrissant de discriminations tribales, raciales, religieuses, culturelles, économiques, voire civilisationnelles, le Rwanda, en toute humilité, offre un modèle dont la résonance positive transcende les frontières de l'Afrique et s'inscrit dans une typologie universaliste. Soyez-en fiers, chères sœurs, chers frères rwandais. Ce panorama saisissant est dessiné d'une part par les malheurs et d'autre part par la construction patiente et méthodique d'un ordre social en pleine réconciliation. Comment dès lors ne pas s'incliner devant le génie du peuple rwandais qui a su, sous un leadership exemplaire à tous égards, transcender toutes les fragilités de l'être humain. En dernière analyse, il faut se souvenir, oui, se souvenir pour renouveler le serment, plus jamais ça. Plus jamais ça. C'est aussi un serment de fidélité aux valeurs élevées de travail, d'empathie et de solidarité qui raffermissent les liens d'humanité entre tous les hommes et toutes les femmes du pays. L'Union africaine, dont toutes les nations furent profondément bouleversées par l'indescriptible tragédie du génocide contre les Tutsis, n'avait malheureusement pas trouvé au moment du drame, à l'instar d'autres acteurs internationaux, dont la responsabilité aujourd'hui est établie, les réponses appropriées. Le rappel historique de tout à l'heure nous le rappelle. Personne, pas même l'Union africaine, ne saurait se disculper de son inaction face à la chronique d'un génocide annoncé. Ayons le courage de le reconnaître et surtout de l'assumer. Ce n'est pas trop cher payé pour les victimes et leurs descendants. L'Afrique, pourtant, rejette avec une totale aversion l'idéologie criminelle et abjecte du génocide, dans ses composantes faussement justifiées ou nourries par la haine, l'ethnicité, le suprématisme, l'exclusion de toutes les formes de négation de l'autre. Aussi, puis-je annoncer dans cet esprit ma décision de nommer à l'occasion de cette 30e commémoration un envoyé spécial pour notre action multiforme contre le génocide en la personne de M. Adama Dieng, qui a longtemps travaillé au tribunal pénal d'Arusha sur le génocide contre les Tutsis et ailleurs aux Nations Unies sur les mêmes problématiques. Excellences, Mesdames et Messieurs, la 30e commémoration du génocide contre les Tutsis résonne tel un hymne chanté en chœur endeuillé à la gloire du dépassement de soi pour monter plus haut, encore plus haut que les sommets des 1000 collines caractéristiques de ce pays, plus haut que cet arbre florissant, toujours plus sur l'échelle des valeurs humanistes, créatrices de concorde, de prospérité inclusive et de bonheur collectif partagé. Que les vivants demeurent fidèles à ces serments. Que les morts, vivant dans nos consciences, reposent dans la paix éternelle. Je vous remercie de votre bienveillante attention.
Excellence, Monsieur Moussa Faki Mahamat, merci d'être venu vous tenir à nos côtés. À présent, j'aimerais inviter Son Excellence Monsieur Charles Michel, président du Conseil européen, pour livrer son allocution de circonstance. La parole est à vous, Excellence.
Monsieur le Président de la République Paul Kagame, chère Première Dame Jeannette Kagame, Excellences, Mesdames et Messieurs les chefs d'État et de gouvernement, Mesdames et Messieurs, le silence, c'est le respect, le silence, c'est le recueillement, le silence, c'est aussi la commémoration en communion du génocide perpétré contre les Tutsis. Nous entendons ces bruits, ces clameurs, ces cris qui remontent d'il y a 30 ans. Et j'ai, en me tenant devant vous, en mémoire ce témoignage d'un enfant.
This kid, who was my kid's age, called Reverien, he describes his mother who was coming from a marketplace in April 1994 and who told him that he was scared, that they needed to pray because the end...
Des voisins sont venus, ont volé leurs biens, ont volé leur bétail, ont menacé. Quelques heures auparavant, des cris ont retenti. De l'autre côté de la colline, le bruit du sifflet qui annonçait les premiers massacres. Les cris, les hurlements, ce sont les cris de haine des tueurs. Cette haine qui, depuis quelque temps déjà, avait été propagée, distillée, essaimée comme un poison. Les cris, ce sont aussi les cris d'effroi des victimes brutalisées, des victimes mutilées, violentées. Ces victimes, c'est un papa, une maman, un enfant. Ces cris On les entend depuis la maison voisine, on les entend depuis les écoles, depuis les églises, depuis un barrage au bord d'une route. Et ces cris, c'est aussi le dernier cri de celui qu'on assassine, un appel au secours, un appel à l'aide, un cri de dignité, un appel à la vie. Et puis les bruits s'amenuisent au fur et à mesure que la machette frappe et enlève des vies. Les tueurs se déplacent et continuent encore et encore. Plus d'1 million de vies décimées. Le silence de ceux qui ne veulent pas voir, le silence de ceux qui ne veulent pas entendre, ni la haine propagée, cette haine qui a aiguisé les armes, qui ne veulent pas voir non plus les massacres à grande échelle qui ont commencé. La communauté internationale, immobile, dans une forme de complicité lâche, ferme les yeux. Et je me tiens aujourd'hui devant vous avec humilité. Je suis belge, je suis européen, nous sommes 30 ans plus tard, et je sais ce que mon continent, l'Europe, doit au vôtre, le continent africain. Je connais l'histoire avec ses racines, avec ses grandeurs. Je connais aussi l'histoire avec ses hontes. Je connais les décomptes, je connais les responsabilités, et c'est dans cet esprit que le gouvernement belge, en 2000, a demandé le pardon. Le devoir de mémoire, c'est avant tout une exigence. C'est l'exigence de se souvenir, c'est l'exigence de ne pas oublier, c'est l'exigence d'apprendre des erreurs pour tenter d'ouvrir un monde empreint davantage de lumière. Le continent européen, au siècle passé, a aussi été meurtri, non seulement par 2 guerres d'envergure mondiale qui ont fait couler le sang sur cette terre, mais également par la Shoah, cette extermination industrielle et systématique du peuple juif. Et puis le continent européen a choisi de miser sur la justice, sur le pardon, sur la réconciliation, pour tenter de bâtir un projet positif, tourné vers l'avenir. À l'instar du Rwanda, le peuple qui a choisi la justice, le pardon, la réconciliation, pour se tourner vers l'éducation, vers la santé, vers l'infrastructure, vers les technologies, un parcours de développement, un parcours de résilience. Mesdames et messieurs, je me tiens devant vous. Nous sommes 30 ans plus tard, nous sommes en 2024, dans un monde bousculé, en désordre, chaotique. Un monde qui fait face à des chocs qui sont les chocs de notre génération. Un conflit avec la nature qui met la communauté humaine au défi. Des révolutions technologiques qui ébranlent nos certitudes et nos repères, l'intelligence artificielle, les ordinateurs quantiques. Et puis, cette évolution vers la remise en question unilatérale d'un monde fondé sur des règles, et c'est le paradoxe de notre époque. Une intelligence humaine qui produit des bonds en avant technologiques inimaginables il y a quelque temps à peine, et en même temps un monde empreint d'injustice, un monde empreint d'inégalité, de discrimination et de conflits au moment où on se parle sur chacun des continents. Dans ce monde en tourment, l'Union européenne considère que les valeurs de dignité humaine, l'appartenance au genre humain, la lutte contre les discriminations qui ancrent cette charte des Nations Unies doit être notre boussole pour qu'il n'y ait pas de double standard. C'est ainsi que nous condamnons, avec les termes les plus forts, l'attaque terroriste menée par le Hamas à Gaza, et nous demandons la libération des otages sans condition. Mais nous voulons aussi, au départ du Conseil européen, qu'une qu'un accès humanitaire soit possible et qu'un cessez-le-feu puisse intervenir, ainsi que le respect des décisions de la Cour internationale de justice. Monsieur le Président, Excellences, Mesdames et Messieurs, sur cette terre, aux 1000 collines, cette terre verdoyante, il y a 30 ans, l'horreur absolue, infinie, a frappé. Que de douleurs personnelles, que de tragédies. Et puis le choix a été celui de la réconciliation, le choix de la reconstruction pas à pas, avec ténacité, parole après parole, aveu par aveu, et le pardon pour retisser le tissu d'une société qui se fonde sur la dignité de chaque être humain, la foi dans le genre humain, la réconciliation entre voisins, entre communautés, entre pays. Cela requiert du courage, cela requiert de la volonté, c'est une exigence, mais c'est aussi une condition pour être à la hauteur de cet arbre de lumière qui représente l'espoir et l'espérance. Partout, toujours, porter cette lumière, la lumière de la dignité, c'est l'engagement qu'ensemble nous devons prendre, c'est le chemin, je forme le vœu, que nous empruntions. Merci pour votre attention.
abashyitsi bacu bakoze kwifatanya natwe kwibuka kudufata.
Nous aimerions remercier notre invité qui est venu, n'est-ce pas, pour nous conforter dans cet instant et pour son discours. Maintenant, mesdames et messieurs, nous allons donc écouter Alain Savo dans leur performance musicale.
abahanzi barakoze, banacyubahiro, bashitsi bahire, tugeze mu mwanya wo kwakira ijambo nyamukuru ry'uyu munsi. Your Excellency, President Paul Kagame, we now invite you to deliver your keynote message.
Dear friends, Excellencies,
Mesdames et Messieurs les Présidents, Excellences, chefs d'État et de gouvernement, Mesdames les Premières Dames, Mesdames et Messieurs les anciens chefs d'État, Mesdames les anciennes Premières Dames, Mesdames et Messieurs les chefs de délégation, Mesdames et Messieurs les invités spéciaux, mes chers compatriotes rwandais, compatriotes, je vais vous demander votre permission parce que je veux parler dans une langue que nos invités peuvent.
Today, our hearts are filled with grief and gratitude in equal measure. We remember our dead and are also grateful for what Rwanda has become. To the survivors among us, we are in your debt. We asked you to do the impossible by carrying the burden of reconciliation on your shoulders, and you continue to do so, continue to do the impossible for our nation every single day, and we thank you. As the years pass, the descendants of survivors increasingly struggle with the quiet loneliness of longing for relatives they never met or never even got the chance to be born. Today, we are thinking of you as well. Our tears flow inward, but we carry on as a family. Countless Rwandans also resisted the call to genocide. Some paid the ultimate price for that courage, and we honor their memory. Our journey has been long and tough. Rwanda was completely humbled by the magnitude of our loss. And the lessons we learned are engraved in blood. But the tremendous progress of our country is plain to see, and it is a result of the choices we made together to resurrect our nation. The foundation of everything is unity. That was the first choice, to believe in the idea of a reunited Rwanda and live accordingly. The second choice was to reverse the arrow of accountability, which used to point outwards beyond our borders. Now, we are accountable to each other, above all. Most importantly, we chose to think beyond the horizon of tragedy and become a people with a future. Today, we also feel a particular gratitude to all the friends and representatives here with us from around the world. We are deeply honored by your presence alongside us on this very heavy day. The contributions you have made to Rwanda's rebirth are enormous and have helped us to stand where we are now. I want to recognize a few while also asking for forgiveness for not being able to mention all who deserve it. For example, Uganda, which carried the burden of Rwanda's internal problems for so many years and was even blamed for that. The leadership and the people of Ethiopia and Eritrea helped us in starting to rebuild at that time. In fact, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, who is here, even served as a young peacekeeper in the immediate aftermath of the genocide. There is Kenya, Burundi, the Democratic Republic of Congo hosted large numbers of Rwandan refugees and gave them a home. Tanzania as well, and also played a unique role at many critical points, including hosting and facilitating the Arusha peace process. And here, I must single out the late President Julius Nyerere, who embodied the spirit which laid that foundation. The Republic of Congo has been a productive partner in rebuilding and more. Many of the countries represented here today also sent their sons and daughters to serve as peacekeepers in Rwanda. Those soldiers did not fail Rwanda. It was the international community which failed all of us, whether from contempt or cowardice. Among those here with us today, I salute the widow and daughter of the late Captain Mbaye Diagne of Senegal, who died a hero as he rescued many Rwandans from death. At the United Nations Security Council in 1994, moral clarity came from Nigeria, the Czech Republic, and even as far away as New Zealand. Their ambassadors had the courage to call the genocide by its rightful name and resist political pressure from more powerful countries to hide the truth. Ambassador Ibrahim Gambari of Nigeria and Czech Ambassador Karol Kovenda are here with us today, and we applaud you. Even in countries where government policy was on the wrong side of history, both during the genocide and even afterwards, there were always individuals who stood out for their honesty and humanity. We shall always be grateful. We also appreciate the tangible support we have received from partners beyond our continent over the past 30 years. In Europe, the United States, Asia, and many international organizations and philanthropies. A notable example of solidarity came to us from South Africa. One among many. Indeed, the entire arc of our continent's hopes and agonies could be seen in those few months of 1994. As South Africa ended apartheid and elected Nelson Mandela president, in Rwanda, the last genocide of the 20th century was being carried out. The new South Africa paid for Cuban doctors to help rebuild our shattered health system and opened up its universities to Rwandan students, paying only local fees. Among the hundreds of students who benefited from South Africa's generosity, some were orphaned survivors, others were the children of perpetrators, and many were neither. Most have gone on to become leaders in our country in different fields. Today, they live a completely new life. What lessons have really been learned about the nature of genocide and the value of life? I want to share a personal story, which I usually keep to myself.
J'ai un cousin.
In fact, a sister.
Non, en fait, c'est une cousine, c'est une sœur. Elle s'appelle Florence.
Yes. Worked for the United Nations Development Program in Rwanda for more than 15 years. After the genocide started, she was trapped in her house near the Camp Kigali Army Barracks with her niece and other children and neighbors, around a dozen people in total. The telephone in Francis' house still worked, and I called her several times using my satellite phone. Each time we spoke, she was more desperate. But our forces could not reach the area. When the commander of the UN peacekeeping mission, General Daria, visited me where I was in Mulindi, I asked him to rescue Florence. He said he would try. The last time I talked to her, I asked her if anyone had come. She said no, and started crying. Then she said, Paul, you should stop trying to save us. We don't want to live anymore anyway. I quickly understood what she was saying, and she hung up. At that time, I had a very strong heart, but it weakened a bit because I understood what she was trying to tell me. On the morning of May 16th, following a month of torture, they were all killed, except for one niece who managed to escape, and thanks to a good neighbor. It later emerged that a Rwandan working at the UNDP betrayed his Tutsi colleagues to the killers. Witnesses remember him celebrating Florence's murder the night after the attack. He continued his career with the United Nations for many years, even after evidence implicating him emerged. He's still a free man, now living in France. I asked General Dallaire what happened. He said that his soldiers encountered a militia roadblock near the house. And so they turned back just like that. Meanwhile, he conveyed to me an order from the United States ambassador to protect diplomats and foreign civilians evacuating from or by road to Burundi from attack by the militias. These two things happened at the same time. I do not need to be instructed to do something that goes without saying. That's what I was going to do. But the militias ran away, or rather peacekeepers ran away from militias, were manning a roadblock. I do not blame General Dallaire. He's a good man who did the best that could be done in the worst conditions imaginable, and who has consistently borne witness to the truth despite the personal cost. Nevertheless, in the contrast between the two cases, I took note of the value that is attached to different shades of life. In 1994, all Tutsi were supposed to be completely exterminated once and for all, because the killings that had forced me and hundreds of thousands of others into exile 3 decades before had not been sufficiently thorough. That is why even babies were systematically murdered so they would not grow up to become fighters. Rwandans will never understand why any country would remain intentionally vague about who was targeted in the genocide. I don't understand it. Such ambiguity is in fact a form of denial which is a crime in and of itself. And Rwanda will always challenge it. When the genocidal forces fled to Zaire, now the Democratic Republic of Congo, in July 1994, with the support of the external backers, they vowed to reorganize and return to complete the genocide. They conducted hundreds of cross-border terrorist attacks inside Rwanda over the next 5 years, targeting not only survivors, but also other Rwandans who had refused to go into exile, claiming thousands more lives. The remnants of those forces are still in eastern Congo today, where they enjoy state support in full view of the United Nations peacekeepers, their objectives have not changed. And the only reason this group today known as FDLR has not been disbanded is because their continued existence serves some unspoken interest. As a result, hundreds of thousands of Congolese Tutsi refugees live here in our country, in Rwanda, and beyond, completely forgotten, and no program of action for their safe return. Have we really learned any lessons? We see too many actors, even some from Africa, getting directly involved as tribal politics is given renewed prominence and ethnic cleansing is prepared and practiced. What has happened to us? Is this the Africa we want to live in? Is this the kind of world we want? Rwanda's tragedy is a warning. The process of division and extremism, which leads to genocide, can happen anywhere if left unchecked. Throughout history, survivors of mass atrocities are always expected to be quiet, to censor themselves, or else be erased and even blamed for their own misfortune. Their testimony is living evidence of complicity, and it unsettles the fictions which comfort the enablers and the bystanders. The more Rwanda takes full responsibility for its own safety and dignity, the more intensely the established truth about the genocide is questioned and revised. Over time, in the media controlled by the powerful in the world, in this world, victims are rebranded as villains. And even this very moment of commemoration is derived as a mere political tactic. It is not. It never has been. Our reaction to such a hypocrisy is pure disgust. We commemorate because those lives mattered to us. Rwandans cannot afford to be indifferent to root causes of genocide. We will always pay maximum attention, even if we are alone. But what we are seeking is solidarity and partnership to recognize and confront these threats together as a global community. I will tell you another story. One night, in the later days of the genocide, I received a surprise visit past midnight from General Darer. He brought a written message of which I still have a copy from the French general commanding the force that France had just deployed in the western part of our country. That operation took place. The message said that we would pay a heavy price, meaning those of us, the RPF, if our forces dared to try to capture the town of Batari, that is in the southern part of our country. So, and General Darer gave me additional advice. He said, in fact, he warned me. He said that the French had attacked helicopters and all kinds of arms. Every kind of heavy weapon you can imagine. And therefore, we are prepared to use them against us if we did not comply. I asked Darer, I asked him whether French soldiers bleed the same way ours do. I asked him whether we have blood in our bodies. Then I thanked him and told him that he should just go and have rest and sleep, and have his sleep. After after giving after informing the French that our response would follow, and it did. I immediately radioed the commander of the forces that were actually in that direction, in that area, is called Fred Ibingira. And told him to get ready to move, and move to fight. We took Butare, which we were being warned not to enter. We took that town at dawn. Within weeks, the entire country had been secured. And we began rebuilding. We did not have the kind of arms that were being used to threaten us. But I reminded some people that this is our land, this is our country. Those who bleed will bleed over it. We had lost all fear. Each challenge or indignity just made us stronger. After the genocide, we faced the puzzle of how to prevent it from recurring. There were three broad lessons we learned as a result of our experience. First, only we as Rwandans and Africans can give full value to our lives. After all, we cannot ask others to value African lives more highly than we ourselves do. That is the root of our duty to preserve memory and tell our history as we lived it. Second, never wait for rescue. When they threaten us with all kinds of things and they don't know what they're talking about. But in any case, that's why Rwanda participates proudly in peacekeeping operations today and also extends assistance to African brothers and sisters bilaterally when asked. Third, stand firm against the politics of ethnic populism in any form. Genocide is populism in its purified form. because the causes are political. The remedies must be as well. For that reason, our politics is not organized on the basis of ethnicity or religion, and it never will be again. The life of my generation has been a recurring cycle of genocidal violence in 30-year intervals. From the early 1960s to 1994, to the signs we see in our region today in 2024. Only a new generation of young people have the ability to renew and redeem a nation after genocide. Our job was to provide the space and the tools for them to break the cycle, and they have. What gives us hope and confidence are the children we saw in the performance area, or the youth who created the tradition of Walk to Remember that will occur later today. Nearly 3/4 of Rwandans today are under age 35. They either have no memory of the genocide or were not yet born. Our youth are the guardians of our future. And the foundation of our unity, with a mindset that is totally different from the generation before. Today, it is all Rwandans who have conquered fear. Nothing can be worse than what we have already experienced. This is a nation of 14 million people who are ready to confront any attempt to take us backwards. The Rwandan story shows how much power human beings have within them. Whatever power you do have, you might as well use it to tell the truth and do what is right. During the genocide, people were sometimes given the option of paying for a less painful death. There is another story I learned about at the time, which always sticks in my mind, about a woman at a roadblock in her final moments. She left us a lesson that even every African should live by. Every African should live by this lesson. When asked by the killers how she wanted to die, she looked them in the eye and spit in their face. Today, because of the accident of survival, our only choice is what life we want to live. Our people will never, and I mean never, be left for dead again. I thank you.
Your Excellency, thank you very much for these words of truth and reminding us that we will always stand up against primitive politics. Now, distinguished guests, as we are coming to the end of this ceremony, we are going to hear the last musical interlude, which will be performed by Ruti Joel, Mani Martin, Bukuru Christian, Aline Sano, Nel Ngabo, and Kenny Mirasano, to reinterpret a song by the late Cyprien Rugamba, who was killed during the genocide. The song is called Murumve Twana Twanjye.
Murumve twana twanjye n'abarazurukundo murarugira intego mwese aho mujya hose rubabe rumutako mw'izuba rubara ngarama wari nijoro muzabona ibibagora bizakagutambamira urwo rukundo murabe maso hatagira umwanzu bacamo icyanzu murakomeze mutwaze ntabwo nzabahana nzagumana namwe nsimbura ibibarwanya wa mwanzi w'icyatwa ubagarura mu cyaha nzamukubitija njamwimure muhumure naratsinze nemekuru ntihagire ikibaka murizihirane cyane mumenye kunda umwanya wanjye niba kandi usanga ari wowe ujya umuhu ngo ujye unyambaza nkuvure nawe urumurwa muhumure naratsinze nimekurukundo
abahanzi barakoze, reka twongere tubashimira abaririmbye bose kubera ko batugaragarije uko byagenda kose ubuzima burakomeza, generasiyo ziha izindi, kuko bagiye basubiramo indirimbo zaririmbwe n'abahanzi bababanjiriza. Nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika na Madamu, banyacyubahiro, bashyitsi baheri mwateraniye hano, banyarwanda, banyarwandakazi, namwe mwese mwadukukiraga hirya no hino, twongeye kubashimira kuba twabanye muri uyu muhango watangije icyumweru cy'icyunamo twibuka ku nshuro ya 30 Jenoside yakorewe abatutsi. Nk'uko bisanzwe, ibikorwa byo kwibuka bizakomeza mu gihe cy'iminsi 100. Dukomeze rero kuba hafi abarokotse Jenoside yakorewe abatutsi, dukomeze kwibuka twiyubaka. Mwakoze, murakarama.
Excellencies, distinguished guests, we have come to the end of the ceremony. We thank you all for being with us and for standing by us on this important occasion as we honor those we lost, those who survived, those who saved lives, and those who fought and continue to fight for the country we have today. As we close this ceremony, marking the start of the 30th commemoration, we please ask that we continue to remember, unite, and renew. Please remain in your place as the heads of states and delegated officials depart.
Le génocide, nous aimerions donc vous demander gentiment de continuer à se souvenir, s'unir et de renouveler. Distingués officiels, Monsieur le Président